This is Codex Sinaiticus at the British Library. It was discovered in 1859 by Constantine Tischendorf at St. Catherine's Monastery at the base of Mount Sinai. And he took it back to Russia because the Russian state sponsored his expedition. And he wrote a note to the monks saying, I will borrow this and I will return it once we get it photographed. The Tsar, once he got it, apparently said, no, this is mine. You're not sending it back. This is the oldest complete New Testament in the world. It had originally the whole Bible, and we have quite a few leaves of the Old Testament, but those are mostly in Leipzig and Russia, I believe. Here is also the only 4-column Greek New Testament manuscript in the world. And here, the second column on the recto or the right page is the end of Mark's Gospel, and it ends with Ephabuntagar, or the women were afraid. The angel says, go and tell the disciples to meet Jesus in Galilee, and it says they did nothing for they were afraid. End of the Gospel. Almost all manuscripts have 12 more verses, verses 9 through 20. But this one and Codex Vaticanus end at verse 8. This is almost surely the original ending, and scribes didn't want to have a gospel end without a resurrection appearance by Jesus to the disciples. So there's 5 different endings that were added to the Gospel of Mark. But this is almost surely the original, and I think it was Mark's intention to say, if you're going to follow Jesus, I want you to step into the sandals of the disciples, and you follow him all the way to the cross. And you finish the story. You write the rest of the story in your own life. Fascinating manuscript, exceedingly valuable. So the Tsar ended up owning this manuscript, or the Russian government did. And then in 1917 we had the Bolshevik Revolution. And now you have the new communist government in place. By 1929 you had the Wall Street crash. And by 1933 the Russian government, the new Russian government, was trying to sell off some of these artifacts, especially religious documents that they didn't care about, but they knew Westerners would. And so they offered this particular manuscript for £100,000. At the time, that would be the equivalent of $500,000, and it was far and away the most expensive Bible ever sold at that time. The British government raised the money by raising half of it themselves and then asking people during the Great Depression to contribute the rest of the money. Some of those people wrote to their cousins or friends in America and asked for donations there. So some Americans actually helped to pay for Codex Sinaiticus getting to England. It arrived on December 27th in an armored truck, 1933. And T.C. Skeet, an assistant librarian at the British Museum, is the one who spent most of the rest of his career working on this manuscript and noting all sorts of amazing things about it. When I was in seminary, I fell in love with Codex Sinaiticus. We had a copy of the New Testament where every single leaf was encased in plastic so that they wouldn't get hurt anymore. A copy of it, obviously. And I would go to the library all the time and look at that. I was just fascinated by it. Fascinated by the story of its discovery. And it got me to thinking about the significance of every New Testament manuscript, that all of them have a unique story to tell. We don't always know what they are, but that's one of the reasons I do what I do with CSNTM, is to find out as much about the manuscript, the provenance, the scribe, the habits, the humanity that is in that copy of the Word of God.